Let's dive into a genuine marvel of nature, something that sounds like it's straight out of science fiction. We're talking about how a tiny bird, with a brain no bigger than a pea, can pull off navigational feats that would make our best technology sweat. And the answer, it seems, isn't just about wings or instinct. Nope. Scientists now believe it all comes down to the bizarre, almost magical rules of quantum physics.
Just try to put yourself in their wings for a second. Imagine you're a tiny European robin. Every single year, you have to fly from Scandinavia all the way to North Africa and then back again. And like researcher Miriam Leedvogel points out, you're doing this mostly at night, and you're completely alone, even on your very first trip. There are no parents, no map, no one to follow. It sounds completely and utterly impossible.
And that right there is the big question, the paradox that has fascinated people for centuries. How does this tiny living machine, with that little pea-sized brain, solve a global navigation puzzle that would challenge our most advanced GPS? I mean, this isn't just a party trick for them. Their actual survival depends on getting this right every single time.
To really get our heads around this, we need to appreciate just how unbelievably tough this journey is. We're not talking about a quick flight across town. We're talking about intercontinental travel, year after year, with pinpoint accuracy.
So, get this. Something like 95% of these migrating birds travel at night by themselves with zero parental guidance. That tells us something absolutely crucial. This ability can't be learned. It has to be an inherited instinct, a kind of biological GPS that's just baked into their DNA from the moment they hatch.
So how in the world did we go from, wow, it's a mystery, to, hey, I think it's quantum mechanics? Well, it's been a long, fascinating detective story, with scientists uncovering clues piece by piece for over half a century. So let's follow the breadcrumbs.
Okay, so check out this timeline. Back in the 60s, we confirmed they used the Earth's magnetic field. Simple enough, right? But then in the 70s, it gets weird. They find out it's an inclination compass, not a simple north-south one. In the 90s, another bizarre detail pops up. The compass only works when there's blue light. And then the really critical clue comes in 2004. Weak radio waves can completely jam their sense of direction. With every new discovery, the idea of a simple classical compass just starts to fall apart.
Now that distinction is super important. A polarity compass, like the one in your phone, just points north. Simple. But an inclination compass is totally different. It senses the angle of the magnetic field lines as they dip towards the Earth. This means it doesn't really know north from south. It only knows towards the pole versus towards the equator. It's a really strange detail, but it's a key piece of the puzzle that any theory has to explain.
All right, so with all these strange clues on the table, the light, the weird angle sensing, the radio wave interference, scientists needed a theory that could actually tie it all together. And the leading contender, which was first suggested way back in the 70s, is just startling. It suggests that the bird has a compass that operates at the quantum level.
It's called the radical pair mechanism. Now that sounds complicated, but here's the basic idea. Deep inside the bird's eye, a specific chemical reaction happens that's sensitive to Earth's magnetic field. This reaction creates two molecules with electrons that are quantum entangled. You can think of them like a pair of magic spinning coins. If you know one is heads up, you instantly know the other one is tails up, no matter how far apart they are. That incredibly sensitive quantum connection is the key to the whole thing.
So here's how it plays out, step by step. First, blue light zaps a special protein in the bird's eye. That creates the radical pair with its entangled electrons. Now here's the magic. The Earth's magnetic field, as unbelievably weak as it is, can actually influence the spin of those electrons. And that tiny influence changes the outcome of the chemical reaction. And, incredibly, the bird's brain is somehow able to interpret these super subtle chemical changes.
So, if you put it all together, you get this absolutely mind-blowing conclusion. The bird doesn't feel the magnetic field, it literally sees it. The theory goes that the bird perceives a visual pattern, kind of like a shadow or a filter, laid on top of its normal vision. As the bird turns its head, that pattern shifts, allowing it to navigate using the planet's own magnetic field lines. Just wow.
I know, this sounds completely wild, right? A tiny bird using quantum entanglement to see invisible magnetic fields? But this isn't just some crazy idea. It's a serious scientific theory, and it's backed by a growing mountain of actual biological evidence.
First off, scientists have found the most likely molecule for the job, a protein called cryptochrome 4a, located right there in the bird's retina. Then they found that the levels of this protein spike only during migration seasons. Even better, the version of this protein in migratory robins is way more sensitive to magnetic fields than the version in, say, non-migratory chickens. And finally, they've even located the processor, a specific brain region called cluster N that lights up when it's handling this magnetic data from the eyes. But out of all the evidence, the most powerful piece, the real smoking gun, comes from that discovery back in 2004 about the radio frequency fields. This is the clue that really pushes the quantum theory way ahead of any other explanation.
And to understand why, you have to appreciate just how incredibly weak the Earth's magnetic field actually is. It's only about 50 microteslas. To put that in perspective, a cheap fridge magnet is literally thousands of times stronger. Any kind of classical, physical compass would really struggle to detect something that faint. But a quantum system? It's sensitive enough for the job. And this is where the theory becomes so convincing. The radical pair model doesn't just explain this weird radio effect, it actually predicts it. The model says that the delicate quantum entanglement of those electrons can be easily scrambled by specific radio frequencies. And what happened when scientists ran the experiment? They exposed the birds to those fields, and poof, their navigation system just vanished. That's a result that's really, really hard to explain with any theory besides a quantum compass.
Okay, so with all that evidence, you'd think this is a done deal, right? Case closed? Well, not quite. Like with any science that's right on the cutting edge, there is still a really lively debate going on, and there are some tough questions that researchers are still trying to figure out.
On one side, the quantum compass just perfectly explains all the weird clues we found: the blue light, the angle sensing, the radio wave disruption. But on the other hand, there are some major hurdles. The biggest is something called the interaction strength gap. Basically, in the lab, you often need a magnetic field thousands of times stronger than Earth's to get this protein to react. So how does the bird do it? And how can a super delicate quantum state like entanglement survive inside a warm, wet, messy biological cell? It's a huge puzzle scientists are still working on.
Now, this isn't just about understanding our feathered friends. Cracking this biological code could have some really profound implications for our own technology and even our fundamental understanding of life itself.
I mean, think about it. If birds have figured out how to do quantum sensing in broad daylight at normal temperatures, they've basically solved a problem that stumps our best physicists. It's like they're holding a blueprint for a technological revolution, a blueprint developed over millions of years of research and development by Mother Nature herself.
For starters, we struggle to build quantum computers that need these massive, supercooled facilities. Birds are doing quantum sensing at body temperature. This could be the key to building room temperature quantum tech. It could also lead to new navigation systems that don't rely on satellites, systems that can't be jammed or spoofed. But maybe most importantly, it opens up a whole new frontier, the field of quantum biology.
This quote really nails the paradigm shift we're talking about. For the longest time, we just assumed biology was governed by boring old classical physics. But what if life has been secretly exploiting the weirdness of the quantum world all along to gain an evolutionary edge? From photosynthesis to maybe even our sense of smell, scientists are starting to see that quantum effects might be hiding everywhere.
And that leaves us with this incredible thought. For millions of years, these birds have been flying over our heads using a fundamental process of the universe that we are only just beginning to understand. It just makes you wonder, if they're doing this, what other profound secrets is nature hiding? Right there in plain sight. Thanks for watching.